The silent invasion. The attack came without warning. On a quiet Tuesday morning, New Alexandria colony went dark. Not just communications. Everything electrical simply stopped. The magnetic levitation trains ground to a halt. Hospital backup generators failed to kick in, and even the simplest battery-powered devices refused to function. Within hours, 30 million colonists found themselves thrust back into a pre-industrial age. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at her laboratory window, staring at the colony's darkened skyline. She had been in the middle of analyzing data from the outer defense grid when everything went dead. The sophisticated quantum computers, the holographic displays, the automated research systems, all silent. Only her old mechanical watch continued ticking, marking time as civilization crumbled around her. "It's the same everywhere," Marcus Rodriguez said, bursting into her office. The security chief's usually pristine uniform was disheveled, and sweat beaded on his forehead. Luna Base, Mars colonies, Titan Station, all gone dark. Even Earth is reporting widespread failures. Sarah's fingers traced the brass gears of her grandfather's watch. "This isn't a natural phenomenon," she said quietly. "The pattern is too precise, too coordinated. Someone is doing this to us." As if in answer to her words, they appeared in the sky. Massive ships, unlike anything humanity had ever built, emerged from what appeared to be tears in space itself. They were beautiful in a terrible way. Smooth, crystalline structures that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. No visible engines, no apparent weapons, just silent, overwhelming presence. The next few days were chaos. Without power, food preservation systems failed. Water purification plants stopped working. Modern medicine became impossible. The alien ships remained in orbit, silent sentinels watching humanity struggle. They made no demands, attempted no communication. They simply waited as human civilization began to unravel. But humans, as they had done countless times before, adapted. Paper ledgers replaced computer systems. Mechanical calculators came out of museums. Hand-powered tools were salvaged from antique shops. In her laboratory, Sarah found herself working by candlelight, using equipment that hadn't seen use in centuries. "Look at this," she said one evening, showing Marcus a pattern she'd drawn out on paper. "They're not just disabling our technology. They're affecting the fundamental way electricity behaves. It's like they've changed the laws of physics themselves, but only for electrical systems." Marcus leaned over the calculations, his face illuminated by candlelight. "Can we fight that?" "Not with any technology we're currently using," Sarah replied, but then her eyes drifted to the watch on her wrist. "But maybe we don't need to." The first breakthrough came from an unexpected source. In the colony's historical museum, a curator named James Wong had maintained a collection of mechanical computers, brass and steel machines from the dawn of the computing age. To everyone's surprise, they still worked perfectly. "It's because there's no electricity involved," Sarah explained to the emergency council that had formed in the wake of the invasion. "These machines operate purely on mechanical principles: gears, levers, springs. The aliens can't disable them because there's nothing to disable." This revelation sparked something in the human spirit. All across the colonies, people began digging through archives and museums, studying forgotten technologies. Steam engines were rebuilt. Mechanical calculators were reproduced. Old knowledge, long considered obsolete, became humanity's most precious resource. Sarah found herself at the center of a new revolution. Her laboratory, once filled with quantum computers and AI interfaces, now housed a growing collection of brass and steel contraptions. Engineers who had once designed fusion reactors now bent their minds to creating mechanical computers of unprecedented complexity. "We're not going backwards," she told Marcus as they watched a team of engineers install a massive mechanical computer in what had once been the colony's AI center. "We're finding a different path forward." The aliens continued their silent watch, perhaps not recognizing the significance of the primitive machines appearing in the colonies. They had expected humanity to collapse without their advanced technology. Instead, they watched as humans began to rebuild, using principles that predated electricity itself. Sarah's watch kept ticking, marking the moments as humanity prepared for what would come next. The aliens might have mastered the manipulation of electrical fields, but they were about to learn that human ingenuity couldn't be so easily suppressed. In the candlelit workshops and steam-powered factories springing up across the colonies, a revolution was brewing, one powered not by electricity, but by the unstoppable force of human determination. As the first month of occupation drew to a close, Sarah made a discovery that would change everything. Hidden in the complex mechanical calculations her team had been running was a pattern, a weakness in the aliens' control over electrical fields. But exploiting it would require technology that hadn't been used in centuries, and coordination on a scale that seemed impossible without modern communications. Looking out at the darkened city, Sarah smiled. The aliens had taken away humanity's advanced technology, thinking it would cripple them. Instead, they had forced humanity to rediscover its roots, and in doing so, may have given them exactly the tools they needed to fight back. The underground response. The solution came from the past. In the bowels of New Alexandria's historical museum, Sarah Chen found herself studying an ancient communication device, a heliograph. The simple system of mirrors and shutters had once been used to transmit messages across vast distances using nothing but sunlight. No electricity required. It's brilliant in its simplicity, she explained to Marcus, adjusting the antique device. The aliens can shut down our quantum communications, but they can't stop us from using light itself. Within weeks, a network of heliograph stations appeared across the colony's rooftops. By day, messages flickered between buildings in complex patterns of light. By night, carefully positioned mirrors reflected moonlight, maintaining the silent conversation. The aliens, focused on monitoring electrical emissions, seemed oblivious to this primitive form of communication. But the heliographs were just the beginning. In workshops hidden beneath the city, engineers worked tirelessly on something far more ambitious. They called it the mechanical internet, a vast network of pneumatic tubes and mechanical computers, linked together by physical connections rather than electrical signals. James Wong, the museum curator, had become an unexpected leader in this technological revolution. His knowledge of historical machines proved invaluable as humanity rebuilt its infrastructure from the ground up. Our ancestors weren't primitive, he often said. They were ingenious. They solved complex problems without relying on electricity, and so can we. The pneumatic network grew rapidly, spreading through abandoned subway tunnels and utility corridors. Messages and small packages could be sent across the city in minutes, powered by nothing more than compressed air and clever engineering. Each hub in the network contained a mechanical computer, programmed with brass punch cards, automatically routing capsules to their destinations. But Sarah's team was working on something even more ambitious. In a sealed workshop deep beneath the city, they were building what they called the analytical engine, a massive mechanical computer far more sophisticated than anything that had existed in the pre-electronic age. Its brass and steel components were manufactured with precision that would have been impossible in the past, each gear and lever crafted to microscopic tolerances. The aliens think they've pushed us back to the Stone Age, Sarah said, watching the machine's countless gears mesh and turn. But they've actually pushed us to evolve in a different direction. We're building things our ancestors never imagined, using principles they never had the chance to fully explore. The breakthrough came 3 months into the occupation. Sarah's team had been using the analytical engine to analyze the patterns in the aliens' energy field, the one that suppressed electrical activity. The machine worked for days, its gears spinning, its punch cards feeding through in endless streams. Then, finally, it produced an answer. "Look at this," Sarah said, spreading the results across a table in the Resistance's underground headquarters. The alien field isn't constant. It pulses, like a heartbeat, and in between those pulses, there are microseconds when electrical systems could theoretically function. Marcus studied the mechanical printout, his expression thoughtful. Can we use that? Not with conventional technology, Sarah replied. The window is too short for normal electrical systems to bootstrap. But she pulled out another set of diagrams. We might be able to build something new. A hybrid system, combining mechanical computers with brief bursts of electrical power. The implications were staggering. If they could build devices that could function in those tiny windows between pulses, they might be able to create weapons that could penetrate the aliens' defenses. But the engineering challenges were enormous, and they would need resources from all the colonies to make it work. The resistance movement spread through the mechanical internet, coordinating between colonies using heliographs and pneumatic systems. Each colony had developed its own innovations. Mars had created sophisticated mechanical pressure suits. Titan had developed steam-powered ships that could function in space. Together, they began sharing knowledge and resources, preparing for what would come next. The aliens remained in orbit, seemingly content to watch humanity struggle with primitive technology. They didn't understand that each passing day made humanity stronger, not weaker. In workshops and laboratories across the solar system, a new kind of technology was taking shape, one that combined the best of old and new, mechanical and electrical. Sarah spent countless hours at her workbench, refining the hybrid systems. The first prototypes were promising. Devices that could store mechanical energy and release it in precisely timed electrical bursts, slipping through the gaps in the alien field. But they would need more, much more. As the resistance grew stronger, Sarah couldn't help but wonder if the aliens realized their mistake. By trying to disable humanity's technology, they had forced humans to become more innovative, more resourceful, and ultimately, more dangerous than ever before. The coming conflict would not be fought with advanced energy weapons or AI-controlled battleships, but with brass and steel, with gears and springs, with human ingenuity and determination. And perhaps most importantly, they had given humanity something that united them like never before, a common enemy and a common purpose. In the candlelit workshops and steam-filled factories, humans from all colonies worked together, sharing knowledge and resources, preparing for the day when they would show the aliens exactly what humanity was capable of. The revolution was coming, and it would run like clockwork. The mechanical revolution. The first successful test of the hybrid weapon system lit up the underground bunker like a miniature sun. For a fraction of a second, raw electrical power surged through the device, perfectly synchronized with the gaps in the alien suppression field. The burst was brief, but it was enough. The target, a salvaged piece of alien technology, shattered. Sarah Chen stood behind the blast shield, her grandfather's watch ticking steadily at her wrist. Timed the pulse to 0.3 microseconds. She called out to her team. Any longer and the alien field will catch it. Any shorter and we won't have enough power. The weapon itself was a marvel of human engineering. At its heart was a mechanical computer of unprecedented precision, its gears and cams calculating the exact moment to release the stored energy. The power came from a series of massive flywheels, spinning constantly, driven by steam engines deep underground. When the moment was right, all that mechanical energy would be converted to electricity in one devastating burst. Marcus Rodriguez watched from the observation deck, his expression a mixture of awe and concern. How many can we build? With the current resources, maybe a dozen, Sarah replied. But that's not enough. We need hundreds, maybe thousands. And we need a delivery system, something that can get them close enough to the alien ships to be effective. The answer to that challenge came from an unexpected source. On Mars, colonial engineers had been developing a new kind of spacecraft. Without electrical systems, they had turned to steam power and mechanical computers. The ships looked like something out of a Victorian science fiction novel, brass and copper vessels with massive external radiators, powered by nuclear-heated steam rather than conventional engines. They're invisible to the aliens, James Wong explained, showing Sarah the designs that had arrived through the pneumatic network. No electrical emissions, No electronic signatures. As far as their sensors are concerned, they might as well be asteroids. The resistance movement began to coordinate their efforts on an unprecedented scale. The mechanical internet hummed with activity as colonies shared designs and allocated resources. Mars would build the ships. Luna would manufacture the precision gears needed for the targeting systems. Earth's hidden factories would produce the weapons themselves. But they needed more than just weapons. They needed a way to coordinate their forces without relying on electronic communications. The solution came from Sarah's study of old naval warfare. Flag signals, she proposed to the Resistance Council. Combined with heliographs for longer distances, we'll create a new signal language, one the aliens won't expect or understand. The preparations took months. Every colony contributed what they could. Ancient mechanical tools were rediscovered and improved upon. Steam engines were refined until they could rival the efficiency of modern fusion reactors. Mechanical computers grew more sophisticated, capable of calculations that would have astonished their original inventors. Sarah spent countless hours in the testing facility, refining the hybrid weapons. Each test revealed new challenges, but also new opportunities. They discovered that the alien field wasn't just a weakness, it could be used as a weapon itself. By timing their energy pulses correctly, they could create cascading failures in the aliens' own systems. The Resistance's underground facilities expanded, becoming vast complexes filled with the steady rhythm of machinery. The sound of turning gears and hissing steam became the heartbeat of the revolution. In workshops across the solar system, humans worked tirelessly, their determination growing stronger with each passing day. Marcus organized the training of crews for the steam-powered ships. Without electronic systems, everything had to be done manually. Navigation was performed with sextants and mechanical calculators. Targeting systems used telescopes and precision clockwork. It was challenging, demanding work, but the crews learned quickly. "The aliens think they've crippled us," Marcus said one evening, watching a training exercise. "They don't understand that they've just removed our dependencies. We're not weaker without our advanced technology. We're more self-reliant." Sarah nodded, her eyes on the massive mechanical computer that dominated the control room. Humans survived and thrived for thousands of years without electronics. We built pyramids, crossed oceans, and began the Industrial Revolution, all without a single microchip. We can do it again, and this time, we'll do it better. The day of reckoning approached. In hidden shipyards across the solar system, the steam-powered fleet took shape. Each vessel was a masterpiece of mechanical engineering, powered by nuclear-heated steam and controlled by systems of gears and pneumatics. They carried the hybrid weapons, carefully timed to strike in the microseconds between the pulses of the alien field. But perhaps the most important weapon wasn't the hybrid devices or the steam-powered ships. It was human adaptability, the ability to take a disadvantage and turn it into an advantage. The aliens had forced humanity to abandon their advanced technology, but in doing so, they had pushed humans to innovate in ways they never would have otherwise. As Sarah made her final inspections of the hybrid weapons, she realized that the aliens had made a fundamental mistake. They had assumed that taking away humanity's advanced technology would weaken them. Instead, it had forced humanity to become stronger, more resourceful, and more united than ever before. The mechanical revolution was complete. Now it was time for the counterattack to begin. The counterstrike. The steam-powered fleet launched under the cover of darkness. From orbit, they must have looked like nothing more than debris. Dark shapes moving silently through space, their massive radiator fins dissipating heat without any electrical signature. 300 ships, built in secret across the solar system, converging on Earth's orbit where the largest alien vessels maintained their silent watch. Sarah Chen stood at the mechanical control station of the flagship, named Prometheus. Around her, the ship thrummed with the steady rhythm of machinery. Steam hissed through pipes, dragging turbines, and powering the mechanical computers that guided their course. Every surface was covered with brass dials and gauges, their needles moving in precise patterns. Fleet positions confirmed. Marcus reported from the navigation station, where he worked with a complex arrangement of telescopes and mechanical calculators. All ships report ready. No indication that the aliens have detected us. The plan was audacious in its simplicity. While the aliens had focused on suppressing electrical systems, they had ignored the basic principles of physics and mechanics. They couldn't stop momentum, couldn't prevent chemical reactions, couldn't alter the laws of thermodynamics. These would be humanity's weapons. Sarah checked her grandfather's watch one last time. Signal the fleet. Operation Clockwork begins now. Heliograph signals flashed between ships, reflecting starlight in carefully coded patterns. The fleet began to move in perfect synchronization, each vessel powered by nuclear-heated steam and guided by mechanical computers. They had trained for months for this moment, perfecting the art of space warfare without electronics. The first alien vessel didn't detect them until they were almost on top of it. By then, it was too late. The hybrid weapons fired in perfect sequence, their energy bursts slipping through the microsecond gaps in the alien field. The massive crystalline ship shuddered as multiple impacts struck its hull, its own energy field fluctuating wildly. Hit confirmed. Marcus called out, his voice tight with tension. Enemy vessel showing signs of damage. They're responding. The alien fleet came alive, their ships moving with incredible speed and grace. But they were fighting blind. Their advanced sensors, designed to detect electrical emissions, were useless against humanity's mechanical fleet. They fired energy weapons into space, but the human ships were already moving, their courses plotted by mechanical computers that couldn't be jammed or disrupted. Sarah watched as the battle unfolded on the massive mechanical display in front of her. It was like an enormous clockwork model of space, with brass planets and ships moving in precise orbits. Second wave. Commence attack, she ordered, and another series of heliograph signals flashed through space. The human fleet split into smaller groups, each targeting a different alien vessel. The steam-powered ships moved with surprising agility, their massive radiator fins giving them the appearance of mechanical butterflies dancing through space. They closed in on their targets, firing their hybrid weapons with clockwork precision. More alien ships began to show signs of damage. Their crystal hulls, designed to absorb and deflect energy weapons, proved vulnerable to the precise, coordinated bursts from the hybrid weapons. Each burst was microscopic in duration, but massive in power, overloading the aliens' defensive systems before they could adapt. But the aliens were far from helpless. One of their ships managed to score a direct hit on a human vessel, its energy beam cutting through the steam pipes and mechanical systems. The ship spun out of control, venting steam into space, its crew frantically working to contain the damage. Prometheus, this is the Archimedes. A heliograph message flashed. We've lost main power and steam pressure is critical. Requesting support. Sarah quickly redirected 2 support ships to assist the damaged vessel. This was another advantage of their mechanical systems. They could be repaired in the field, unlike the complex electronic systems they had once relied upon. Even now, crews in pressure suits were probably already working to patch the steam lines and restart the engines. The battle raged for hours, a strange dance of mechanical ships against crystalline vessels. The aliens had superior technology, but they had become over-reliant on it. They couldn't comprehend a fleet that didn't show up on their sensors, couldn't counter weapons that fired in the gaps between their defensive fields. Enemy fleet is pulling back, Marcus announced, his eyes on the mechanical tactical display. They're regrouping at high orbit. Sarah studied the display intently. The alien fleet had lost several ships, and many more were showing signs of damage. But this was just the beginning. They had proven that humanity could fight back, could hurt these invaders who had fought them helpless without their advanced technology. Send word to all ships, she ordered. Phase 1 complete. Begin preparation for Phase 2. As the human fleet regrouped, Sarah looked out at the stars. The aliens had thought they were dealing with a primitive species when they took away humanity's electronics. Instead, they had forced humanity to become something new, a civilization that combined the best of old and new, mechanical and digital, past and future. The counter-strike had begun, and for the first time since the invasion, the aliens were the ones who seemed afraid. Victory through ingenuity. The final phase of Operation Clockwork began not with a bang, but with silence. As the alien fleet regrouped in high orbit, Sarah Chen and her team enacted the last part of their plan, the part that would either save humanity or doom it entirely. All ships maintain position, Sarah ordered through the heliograph network. Prepare to activate the resonance devices. The resonance devices were humanity's greatest gamble. For months, Sarah's team had studied the pulses of the alien suppression field, noting how they rippled through space in regular patterns. The mechanical computers had revealed something extraordinary. The pulses weren't random. They followed a mathematical sequence, like waves in an ocean. And like all waves, they could be amplified or canceled out if you understood their frequency. Device activation in 3 minutes, Marcus announced from his station. Around him, the mechanical computers whirred and clicked, their brass gears calculating the precise moment when all ships would need to fire their hybrid weapons simultaneously. Sarah's grandfather's watch ticked steadily on her wrist. Time had always been their ally in this fight. Time to adapt, time to innovate, time to understand their enemy's weakness. Now, time would be their weapon. 2 minutes, Marcus called out. Through the viewports, Sarah could see the alien fleet, their crystalline ships glowing with internal energy. They seemed to sense that something was coming, but their advanced sensors could detect nothing from the silent mechanical fleet. 1 minute. Sarah thought about everything that had led to this moment. The aliens had thought they were crippling humanity by taking away their advanced technology. Instead, they had forced humans to rediscover their roots, to remember that innovation wasn't about having the most advanced technology. It was about understanding fundamental principles and applying them in creative ways. 30 seconds. Across the solar system, every human colony waited in anticipation. The mechanical internet hummed with activity as final calculations were shared and confirmed. Every steam-powered ship in the fleet adjusted its position by fractions of a degree, aligning perfectly for what was to come. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Execute, Sarah commanded. Every ship in the human fleet fired their hybrid weapons simultaneously. But this time, they weren't aiming at the alien vessels. Instead, they fired precisely calculated energy pulses into seemingly empty space, targeting specific points in the alien's suppression field. The effect was immediate and spectacular. The energy pulses, timed exactly between the alien's field pulses, created a cascade of resonance waves. Like ripples in a pond combining to form larger waves, the energy built upon itself, growing stronger with each pulse. The alien ships reacted immediately, their crystalline hulls flaring with light as they attempted to strengthen their suppression field. But it was too late. The resonance wave had grown beyond their control, turning their own technology against them. Energy readings are off the scale, Marcus reported, his eyes on the mechanical gauges. The alien field is destabilizing. Sarah watched as the first alien ship's field collapsed completely, its crystalline hull darkening as its power systems failed. Then another fell, and another. The resonance waves spread through their fleet like a tide of silence, shutting down their advanced technology, just as they had once shut down humanity's. All ships begin Phase 3, Sarah ordered through the heliograph network. The human fleet moved forward, their steam-powered engines driving them toward the now vulnerable alien vessels. This time, when they fired their hybrid weapons, they targeted the ships directly. The battle that followed was brief but decisive. Without their energy fields, the alien ships were surprisingly fragile. Their crystalline hulls, designed to channel and redirect energy, shattered under the impact of humanity's precisely timed weapon bursts. One by one, the alien ships went dark or began retreating. Their carefully coordinated suppression field, which had held humanity in check for so long, had become their greatest weakness. They had never considered that someone might understand it well enough to turn it against them. "Enemy fleet is in full retreat," Marcus announced. "Confirmed signals from Mars and Luna. The alien ships in their orbits are withdrawing as well." A cheer went up through the ship as the news spread through the mechanical communication network. All across the solar system, humans celebrated as their mechanical systems confirmed what they had hoped for. The aliens were leaving. Sarah stood at her control station, watching the retreat through the telescopes. The aliens had come expecting to find a civilization dependent on advanced technology, easy to cripple and control. Instead, they had found something far more dangerous, a species that could adapt, that could take a setback and turn it into an advantage, that could combine old knowledge with new understanding to create something unprecedented. "Send word to all colonies," she ordered. "Operation Clockwork is complete. Begin restoration procedures." As the alien fleet disappeared into the depths of space, Sarah looked down at her grandfather's watch, still ticking steadily. The aliens had tried to turn back time, to force humanity to live without their advanced technology, but they had failed to understand that humans had never truly left their past behind. They had built upon it, layer by layer, each generation adding to the knowledge of those who came before. In the end, it wasn't advanced technology that had saved humanity. It was something far more powerful: the ability to innovate, to adapt, and to remember that the principles of science and engineering remained true, no matter how advanced technology became. The mechanical revolution had saved humanity, and in doing so, had opened up new possibilities for the future. As Sarah looked out at the stars, she knew that humanity would rebuild their electronic technology, but they wouldn't abandon their mechanical innovations. They had learned too much, gained too much, to ever go back to depending solely on one type of technology. The ticking of her grandfather's watch reminded her that time moved only forward, and humanity would move forward with it, stronger and wiser for having remembered their past.